It's not all that long ago that I said Tyson Fury is approaching Muhammad Ali's levels in terms of his greatness as a heavyweight boxer. He's certainly very, very charismatic and approaching the levels of Muhammad Ali when it comes to being an entertainer and a personality in the sport. He'd probably never quite get to that level. But as a boxer, I'm not sure that Ali would have been able to deal with 6'9" of Tyson Fury, given what a well-rounded boxer he is. But when you make statements like that in the run-up to a fight like Dillian Whyte on Saturday night, you start to get a little bit nervous and you start to doubt yourself a little bit, because make no mistake, Dillian Whyte is a hard man. I don't think there's any heavyweight out there that would take him lightly, any heavyweight in the last 20 years that would take this version of Dillian Whyte lightly. He's not perfect, he's got quite a few technical flaws, but what he is a slugger. He's heavy, and heavy as a heavyweight. He's not as big as Tyson Fury, but he won't get manhandled by Tyson Fury because he can look after himself. He's got a lower centre of gravity than Deontay Wilder has. And I think in the clinches, I'm not saying he's going to be able to manhandle Tyson Fury, but he'll be able to look after himself in there. And he's got a set of stones. He will fight and he will swing hard, and he'll go down swinging if he has to, if that's the only way that the fight's going to finish. But he will not die waiting to find out what would happen with Tyson Fury, because he's hard enough, he's tough enough, he's had a tough enough existence to this point to leave it all in there. And he's a dangerous man, no two ways about it. He's got a good jab. I think technically he's got a lot better over the last few years. He was really, really raw when he fought Joshua a few years back. And even then, obviously, there was a point in that fight around round 5, round 6, where it looked like he was actually going to do a number on Joshua, who at the time looked invincible. I think we've all found out that he was far from invincible subsequently, but even that version of Whyte that could have beaten Joshua was very raw, and had a lot of development ahead of him, and he's done that, and he's improved a lot as a boxer. Like I say, he's got a good jab. He can catch and counter with his left. He's got a really dangerous left hook, but he needs to be in range, and his feet are horrendous. And I don't see those feet being able to deal with Tyson Fury's ring craft and movement and agility and speed for such a big man. His ring smarts are well beyond what Dillian Whyte has. Dillian Whyte is going to have to put it on him. He's going to have to get close enough to be able to damage to Tyson Fury. He's got a big body and a big trunk to attack, which I think is going to be a big part of the fight, of what Doc White's going to try and do. But the question is whether or not he's going to get close enough. How can Dillian Whyte win this fight? I think there's only one way, and that's to catch Tyson Fury coming in the early rounds. I think if he nails Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury's not quite warmed up to the fight and his whiskers haven't been tested, then there's a chance that he could do it in the first couple of rounds. That's the only way that I see Dillian Whyte winning this fight. If that happens, fair play. It's almost like a puncher's chance, in my opinion. But Teddy Atlas made a really good point this week, saying that Tyson Fury does tend to fall in once he's thrown a 1-2, or he's thrown a 1-2 and a check hook or whatever. He'll go in and smother his work, and as he comes in and smothers, then maybe Dillian Whyte can catch him with a short left hand or an uppercut. But that's the only way I see it turning out in Whyte's favour, and I'd say the chances of that happening are very slim. Tyson Fury is the most complete heavyweight boxer there's been possibly in history. He's not the heaviest puncher, but he's getting heavier as a puncher. He's getting more damaging as a puncher as he gets older, as he learns more with the Kronk Gym and with Sugar Hill. And I think what will happen is that Tyson Fury will apply educated pressure. He will box Dillian Whyte and use his attributes. Dillian Whyte will get more desperate, because there's no way Dillian Whyte is going to leave Wembley Stadium on Saturday night wondering if only he'd put a bit more pressure on Tyson Fury. So I can see him getting frustrated at the inability to get close enough to hurt Fury into exchange. I can see him getting pinged, and then Fury getting out or smothering his work without Whyte being able to stop him from doing that. And then I think he'll start to get desperate, and that'll happen earlier than perhaps some people might think it will, because I think the stadium atmosphere, I think the size of the fight, and I think Whyte's determination to put it on Fury will mean that he'll overcommit. He has a tendency to overcommit, and I think he'll get hurt. And I think if he doesn't get hurt and stopped in the first couple of times that happens, I think it'll happen as he gets more fatigued and he overcommits more and he gets more ragged. I think Tyson Fury will just get more openings to nail him. So I see it finishing in about round 8. Tyson Fury stopping Dillian Whyte on his feet. And then at that point, I think he'll have proven his greatness once again. But he'll still have questions to answer if in terms of being potentially being the best heavyweight ever. And if he retires, those questions will remain unanswered, and it'll just be opinions from people like me who don't necessarily know what they're talking about anyway. If he goes on to fight and beats Usyk or Joshua or both of them, I'd have to say I think you could make a case for Tyson Fury being the greatest ever heavyweight. If not, I won't say the greatest ever boxer, because there's no chance he's going to be better than a Sugar Ray Robinson, for example, but possibly a top 10 greatest ever boxer. But certainly from a heavyweight perspective, I think you could probably make the statement that Tyson Fury would not have been beaten by any heavyweight in history. That's how good I think he is. We'll find out tomorrow if that's still the case, or whether that doubt that I've got in my mind just because of what a tough man Dillian Whyte is and how heavy he is comes to fruition. And I hope not, because I want Tyson Fury to win. I'm a massive Fury fan. I hope he's happy. I hope he stays happy, and I hope he keeps being who he is, because I think he's just brilliant.